was Leon Draisaitl. There's rumors that Connor might need surgery this offseason. What can you fill us in on stuff like that?
With Connors, I'm not sure what the process is going to be and how bad it was. I don't have very much information to give you with Connors. Leon battling things throughout the playoffs, ribs, hands throughout the playoffs. Certain times it was worse than others, but there was games where I wasn't sure he was going to play, but he fought through it and played very well in those games. And then Evander, obviously, with the sports hernia, something that's been bothering him throughout the season, and got to the point where it just limited his game. And, unfortunately, we missed him.
Just to check, what was Connor's injury? Or was there some specific with Connor?
I'd rather not say. I'll leave that up to the medical staff to say that.
And I guess I know it's still fresh and it still hurts, and it's going to probably hurt for a little bit in the summer, but can you reflect on the season and when you got here and, how the team was kind of at the bottom and kind of being able to get them to where you're at?
Yeah, I think, it's unfortunate. You often get defined on winning and winning that last game. And, we're so close to winning it, but I don't know. I think there's so many positives throughout the season that we should be happy about. Obviously, we got a group that's very disappointed, angry, upset that we didn't win Game 7. But, I felt, 5 more minutes, we would have tied that game up. A couple loose pucks that we just couldn't get our sticks on. But that's a game, and Florida's a very worthy champion, and we have a lot to look forward to next season.
Chris, just over here on the far side. I can't forget cramps with Leon, though, too, right?
Yeah, he had a lot of those, too.
Sorry, I was just joking. What's your biggest takeaway from that playoff run? Like, was it Vancouver series and coming back a couple times, Dallas, or even Florida? What especially the last 3 rounds, what's the biggest takeaway there?
Absolutely. We're down 3-0 against Florida. Being able to come back to make it 3-3. Game 7, we're down 1-0. We tie it to make 1-1. That for me is the highlight of the year. Just being able to come back where very few thought we had an opportunity to do it. Obviously, it's a very difficult task. Done once before in history. And, I think just with the players sticking with it, they've done it so many times through the regular season, through the playoffs, and I think that was definitely the highlight of our year.
Chris, what did you learn as a coach first time around in the National Hockey League, and how different was it from regular season and then you got to the playoffs, coaching in the playoffs?
It actually, the pressure of the playoffs is higher than the regular season, obviously. But during the playoffs, you actually have more time to reflect on what's going on. And the reason why is because you're not caught up in pre-scouts. You're not playing a different opposition every single night. So your work is done. So you have more time to actually think about what happened in the previous game and what you actually need to do the next game, and you spend some time on what the message is going to be, what the players need to hear, and polish up your presentation a little bit more than in the regular season, just because of you're in Minnesota one night and then you're into Winnipeg and then you might come back to Calgary and then eventually a home game in Edmonton, and it's just difficult because you're just playing different team and different pre-scouts. But in the playoffs, you have a little more time to reflect on what had happened and what the team needs and what you're doing moving forward. But I don't know. I think after the season, after I get a week or two to catch up on some sleep and reflect on the season. I'll probably have a little bit different perspective. We're going to spend some time, and didn't do my exit meetings with the players yet. I think it's beneficial for everyone to reflect on the season and then talk about it. So I think the players, just giving them a few days to think about how things went and what needs to be better and what we need to change. Coaching staff also. And then I'll probably have a really good sense on how the year went and what I need to do to grow as a coach.
Chris, when you came in here, lots of coaches, come time they want to pick their own staff or not. You hadn't worked a lot with Paul or Mark or Glenn Galtson and even Dustin Schwartz. Now that you have, do you have any plans? Do you expect to make changes? Have you talked to your coaches about the future, or do you want to bring the whole gang back?
Yeah, coming in, having a coaching staff is very, very important. You guys are working together, and everyone's got different strengths, weaknesses, and it's important that you guys are all in sync. And here I come into this, and I had no say whatsoever on who the staff is going to be. Everyone was staying put, or Paul was joining, and really I didn't know these guys at all. And even if I had a clean slate that day over what it was, November 15th, when I came here, and was given the opportunity to go out and pick my staff and hire who I wanted to, I don't think I would have been able to get a staff as qualified and capable as the one I have here. I don't know what we are doing moving forward. I assume everyone's coming back. I would like everyone to come back. I think we worked well together. I think everyone's got different strengths. But as I said before, I don't think I could have had a better group to work with.
Hi, Chris. You knew that Leon Draisaitl was a great hockey player long before you got here, but after spending the better part of a year in the room and on the bench with him, and you see the drive and the toughness, does it give you a little better perspective of what he means to the team?
Yeah, Leon's a very valuable part of this team, and that's quite an understatement. You see the goals and the assists and what he does 5-on-5 and the power play definitely. But he had a pretty good season, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago about his role with the team and who he's playing with. And you look at the superstars in the NHL, and the Kucherov plays with Point, and McKinnon with Rantanen, and Matthews with Marner, and everyone's got these superstars have stars to play with, and some of these stars have other superstars to play with on a regular basis on their line. And you look at Leon's line mates throughout the season, and they're good players. They're good players, but they're not at the same caliber some of these other superstars get to play with. So I think a lot of credit to Leon for playing as well and contributing as much as he did. And for a coach, never having to deal with a disgruntled player complaining about his situation and just accepting it and wanting what's best for the team. And, I haven't coached many superstars. I think I'm very fortunate to have the superstars that I have because, one, they're incredibly talented, but they're also very dedicated to the team's success. And, for a coach, that makes things a lot easier to manage your team.
So in getting to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final and seeing what it took for your team, do you have the sense now that we're here now, we're going to be back next year, or do you have the other appreciation of just how difficult it is and nothing is taken for granted?
Oh, you're always hungry to do more and win that last game. But you know how difficult it is. a lot of things have to go well to get into that position. You know, your goaltending has to be solid throughout. Your power play has to be good. Your health has to be good. You can't have key injuries at the wrong time. You got to get lucky. Like, so many things have to line up. I think we've got a good foundation to make a run like this next season and years beyond. But a lot of things have to line up. And, you know, I'm very confident in us having the opportunity. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I think we've got a good team that we can be in this situation like we were this season, and being able to win that last game.
Chris, you've mentioned before how no team is exactly the same year over year. What are your thoughts on the list of pending free agents and what they've meant to this team in this run?
Well, we've got a lot of them, so I'm not going to point out everyone individually, but I'd like each and every one of them back. Everyone made a huge contribution, you know, probably highlighted with that our newfound third line there. Those three really had a lot of chemistry, outstanding on the penalty kill. You know, they'll be sought after. I know they're all very happy to be here in Edmonton, but, you know, it's difficult bringing them back with contracts and what somebody else is offering. And, you know, they can only play for so many years and so many contracts, so, you know, they have to think about what's best for them. But I know they really liked it here, and hopefully we can bring everybody back, and not just that third line. I think there's other guys, all the other guys that are unrestricted that we want to bring back.
Good afternoon, Chris. In a moment of personal reflection for you, I'd actually like to take us back to a conversation we had in California, bringing up a quote: "Prosperity is a great teacher, adversity is a greater." So I ask you, as the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, how did the adversity that you had to endure throughout this regular season help Chris Knoblauch lead this team when the puck drops in 24-25?
I think adversity makes us all stronger, and we learn from it. You know, there's adversity happens. It's you either have to adapt or you run away from it. And obviously, if you run away from it, you're not getting better. And, you know, that adversity that we've faced as a team has only made us stronger, has made players stronger, has made me stronger. I've been able to adapt and get new ideas on how to communicate and systems and how we're teaching and all that stuff. You know, I think it's been beneficial. But also, you know, my first year as a head coach, there's obviously a lot of learning for me. And I think, you know, just having the confidence of being able to do this over again. Because you come into a new league, a new team, you're not sure if what you've been doing is good enough, if you've got to adapt, if you're, you know, obviously there's adjustments that you need to make, but, you know, I think overall with the support I have from my coaching staff, the leadership that I had in the dressing room, you know, made my job a lot easier. And now that I've seen how the season went, you know, I'm very confident on how the season's going to go next year. And most of that confidence is knowing the players that are signed that are returning.
And how confident are you that the Edmonton Oilers will be back on the...
Well, I said before, there's so many things that have to line up. The injuries, you got to be playing well at the same time. The goaltender you're facing, how well he's playing. It's just, there's so much up in the air. And you can have a good team and things can fall short. And, you know, I look at Game 7. I thought we were in a position to win that game. I thought some bounces, some other things that happened, we could win that game. Didn't happen. But I'm very confident that we'll have a team that can compete and get to this this stage again next season.
Chris, so much has been made of your demeanor behind the bench and how calm you are. What was the moment this season that almost rattled you?
I don't know, probably the last few minutes of the Dallas series, where we were just holding on and defending and spending a lot of time in the defensive zone. There was a moment of great relief when that final buzzer went, but for me to be yelling and screaming and I don't know, I've got it. I don't know, what you see on the outside sometimes is often a lot different than what's going on inside. But I've learned coaching that when the coach takes over and is yelling and screaming and doing things out of character, it's just distracting for the players. I think it's important that the game is about the players. The coach does so much work to prepare them through practices and presentations and teaching. But during the game, it's about them playing and what position can they be in to be at their best. And I felt that on the bench, kind of sitting in the background and, not doing anything too drastic is best for them.
One last question for me. What was it like coaching against a guy who's coached 1,800 games in the Stanley Cup final, Paul Maurice, who has been around a long time, and this was your first kick at the can?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of good coaches around the league, obviously, and there's only 32 positions here, and there's a lot of good quality coaches, whether it's their first year or 18th year, whatever it is. I don't think just because of the games, I didn't feel intimidated by it at all. I just knew that, it doesn't, like Pete DeBoer or Talkett, those are good coaches, and so was Paul. So I've just thought about my team and what I needed to do. I didn't think about what was going on the other bench.